Title: The Edge of Dawn. Ethan was only 17 when the weight of the world seemed too much to bear. Every day, he fought a silent battle against loneliness, despair, and a deep-seated feeling of worthlessness. School was a constant reminder of his struggles: teasing, isolation, and a nagging sense that he didn't belong. At home, arguments and a pervasive quiet left him feeling more alone than ever. In the depths of these overwhelming emotions, Ethan began to believe that escape was the only solution. One cold, overcast evening, Ethan found himself on the edge of an old bridge that overlooked a dark, restless river. The swirling water below seemed to echo the chaos inside him. With his heart pounding and his mind numb, he took a step toward the edge, convinced that the silence of oblivion would be a relief from his ceaseless pain. As he stood there, teetering between life and the unknown, memories of a time when his mother's gentle words filled him with comfort flashed before his eyes. She used to say, "Even in the darkest moments, God is by your side, holding you close. You are never alone." In that instant, amidst the chill of the night and the roar of his despair, something in Ethan shifted. A profound inner whisper urged him to pause, to reconsider. With trembling limbs, he stepped back from the brink, letting the realization wash over him. He wasn't ready to leave just yet. Somehow, that divine moment of hesitation became his lifeline. The next few days were a blur of hospital rooms and quiet, tear-filled conversations with his family. Surviving that night, Ethan was slowly beginning to understand that his life held more possibilities than he had ever imagined. In the sterile yet strangely comforting environment of the hospital, a kind chaplain visited him. The chaplain's voice was soft yet filled with conviction as he shared the timeless message of God's unfailing love. He spoke of grace, of forgiveness, and of the possibility of a new beginning. Even after the darkest night, Ethan listened, at first with guarded skepticism, then with a cautious openness. The chaplain explained how even when life feels unbearable, God's light can pierce the deepest shadows. That evening, as Ethan lay in his hospital bed, he clutched a small, worn Bible that a nurse had left by his side. The pages fell open to Psalm 23, where the words, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," resonated in his heart. It was as if each word was a balm, soothing the raw edges of his pain. Upon his discharge, Ethan found himself drawn to a modest church on the outskirts of town. Unsure of what to expect, he entered the sanctuary and took a seat at the back, where he could blend into the quiet crowd. The soft hum of a hymn, accompanied by the gentle strumming of a guitar, filled the room with a warmth that felt like a long-lost friend returning home. The pastor spoke about the prodigal son, a story of a wayward soul finding his way back to a loving father. As Ethan listened, tears streamed silently down his face. For the first time in a long while, he felt seen and understood, not just by the pastor, but by a God who cared. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. With each sunrise, Ethan began to rediscover himself. He started attending the church regularly, where he met others who had walked through the valleys of despair and emerged with a renewed faith. In group discussions, Ethan shared his journey, his struggle with suicidal thoughts, and how that fateful night had become the turning point in his life. His story, raw and honest, resonated deeply with those who had also felt abandoned by hope. One afternoon, while volunteering at a community outreach program organized by the church, Ethan encountered a young boy named Ryan. Ryan's eyes were filled with the same loneliness Ethan had once known so well. Listening to Ryan share his own battles with bullying and isolation, Ethan's heart ached with empathy. He knelt beside the boy and said gently, "I know how it feels to be lost, but believe me, you are never alone. I was where you are now, and I found my way back by trusting in God's love. You matter so much more than you can imagine." In that moment, Ethan realized his life had taken on a new purpose. No longer was he defined solely by his past or his pain. He was defined by the light that had been rekindled within him. He became an ambassador of hope, organizing support groups, prayer circles, and community events aimed at reaching those who had lost their way. His voice, once silenced by despair, now rang clear with the message that every life is precious and every struggle is a step towards something greater. Ethan's journey wasn't without setbacks. There were days when the old darkness crept back, whispering doubts and fears. But each time, he turned to prayer, to his Bible, and to the supportive community that had embraced him. He found solace in the simple yet profound truth that God's love is constant and unyielding, even when we falter. Years later, Ethan stood on a small stage at a community gathering, sharing his story with a crowd of listeners. His eyes shone with a gentle light, a testament to the transformation he had undergone. "I once stood at the very edge of despair," he began, his voice steady and warm, "believing that ending my life was the only escape. But in that moment, God reached out to me, not with thunder or dramatic signs, but with a quiet, persistent love that whispered, 'You are not done yet.' Today, I stand here, not because I am free from pain, but because I have learned that every challenge is a chance for rebirth. Every scar tells a story of survival, and every day is a gift from a God who never gives up on us." The audience was silent, many moved to tears, as Ethan's words filled the room with hope and authenticity. In sharing his deepest wounds and the divine grace that healed him, he inspired others to seek help, to hold on, and to believe that they too could rise from the darkness. Moral lesson: when you find yourself in the darkest of places, remember that you are never alone. Even on the brink of despair, God's love is there, quietly, persistently, and always ready to embrace you. Your life has a purpose that stretches beyond your current pain, and every day is an opportunity for a new beginning. Trust that even in your hardest moments, you are cherished, and that no matter how deep the darkness, the light of God will always lead you toward hope and healing. May Ethan's story remind everyone who hears it: no matter how overwhelming life may seem, there is always a path to redemption, and you are always worth fighting for.